governance model is so important to any council that is. And first of all, I have spent a great deal of my background in previous lives looking at policy governance models. So if you ask me which model do I favor, it would be a policy governance model. I believe that council sets direction, does not put their fingers in the pie too deeply. We leave that to staff, but we make sure that we have set adequate direction so that we know that our goals and outcomes will be accomplished. And that's the other thing with policy governance. We make it very, very clear to our staff what it is we expect, and then they go out and do it. And it isn't that we don't talk in between, but we certainly support one another and talk about it then. We've just undergone a total review of our policies and our governance model over the past 3 years. I am proud as punch of what we have created, and I think it will set us up well for the future council.
So Roger, today you asked me about a good governance model for City Council. Well, I'm not sure that everybody knows, but my experience has been in governance work for a number of years. Governance is one of the most important things that City Council can do, in fact any board, and it's very important that the board remembers and City Council remembers that their role is to direct their primary staff person, and usually that's one individual. In our case it's the city manager, and then the city manager does the direction of all of administration as part of his work. So sometimes boards and city councils get mixed up and think that they are in a management role or they're in some kind of role where they can direct the individual staff to do any particular piece of the organization. In City Council that is not the case. City Council very specifically has one person that they direct, and that person does that work for all of the city and the citizens.
Hello, Red Deer. One of the things that I've observed as running as a candidate for City Council is you run individually as a councillor, but then when you come together collectively as a City Council, you make decisions together. We do that through what we call the governance process. In the governance process, this last year, the City Council spent a lot of time developing policies and procedures, which I think is a good base model for the next council. But also, it's important to know that as a City Council, we have one employee, and that's our City Manager. We as Council do not make calls to the administration to get our city streets cleaned. Rather, we go through our City Administrator to make the appropriate priorities and the direction that we give as Council. I also really think it's important to be collaborative with your colleague councillors, to be able to listen, to be thoughtful, but what's most important is the conversations that I have with our community to make thoughtful and wise decisions on your behalf as a city councillor.
I think the relationship between City Council and City Administration has to be a close relationship. Having said that, I don't think the role of Council is to micromanage what the administration does. The role of Council is to provide direction to administration and have confidence in the administration enough that Council trusts that the administration will do the best to implement policies and bylaws that Council approves, while checking every once in a while, with administration and with the citizens to make sure that Council makes the right decision. And when the decision may not be perfect, listen to both administration and the citizens to make sure that we make things right in the end.
When you think about governance and when you think about how City Council and City Administration works together, an effective governance model allows management and it allows administration to come up with strategic directions, strategic plans, to be able to set budgets, to be able to look at the core facilities or infrastructure facilities in our city and bring those to Council. Council's role is to be able to assess that across the broader aspects of our city, to be able to think like a citizen, to be able to think like, how would this affect this neighborhood? How would this affect this particular person or traffic patterns or whatever? This is what makes an effective relationship between administration and Council. Council feeds back what they believe the citizens of the city would look like. Administration feeds into Council what their strategic plan would be, how they see the city growing or how they see it expanding. Good boards effectively operate that way.
With Roger Bakes at another of his series in the Farmers Market. The question for me today is, what type of governance model do I think would work most effectively in City Council? Well, for me, a collaborative approach to any type of discussion is the right way to go. I really believe in the way the local Greeks did way back in the day of polis and politics, is that community discussion and forum to have great decisions come from those debates. So I really do believe that a governance model that's respectful, that's informed, and that engages the spirits of those around the table is the best.
Hi there, I'm Janella Spearing, running for City Council. Roger's asked me today what governance model I would use to work with the relationship between City Council and City Administration. I'm not sure if I'm in agreement with a governance model. I'm in agreement with respect. I think there should be a respect between the two. And I believe that I'm open to hearing from administration what their ideas are. And I don't believe that I can make a really good decision on limited knowledge. So I like to get all the options before I make a decision. So as a councillor, I am completely open to hearing all sides of an issue. And like I said, I completely believe in respect, and I would like to see that implemented between that relationship.
Good morning. I'm here down at the farmers market and just been posed a question about governance and how we work with our city administration as a group of city councillors. And I think there are a variety of models that we can look at. Carver model is one that's used quite effectively by a number of levels of government, as well as through the work that I've done with boards of directors. And I think that it can be effective. I think what we really need to do is understand what our role is, where we sit in terms of the effective use of our time and as well as administration, and so that we're clear that we're not overstepping our boundaries.
Good morning. Regarding the working relationship between City Council and the city staff, an effective leader is also a good listener. I am insatiably curious. I have this desire to know and to learn and understand. And also, I have an open mind and I'm willing to collaborate. When I come to council to make decisions, I know that it's important to have my mind open before I come on, and then gather the information from what I've heard, from what I've listened, and then make my decision as a collaborative effort with the other councillors.
For me, there's no perfect model for the relationship between council and city admission, the city workers, but in many ways I trust so hardly that they will work, to be honest, to council, because really it's like a partnership in my mind, because even though council is the one who votes on it, they have to give us the proper resources to have the proper info to make everything right for the whole, for all Red Deer citizens as a whole. So.
This is the first time with Roger. I've been away sick for a little bit, but my concerns with this upcoming election are, number one, to put accountability back into City Hall. We've got to start listening to all of the citizens on Red Deer on all of their concerns, not just special interest groups. Minimum wage isn't something the city controls. I agree it has to be addressed. There are things a city can do to help seniors, students, young families who are working for minimum wage or not much above it, have more month at the end of their money than there should be. Infrastructure is a big thing. One of the best things this city has done in the last 10 years is that spray park for kids. This is what we need more of. We need more substance, less frills.